The Legend of Grimrock 2 is living proof that the video game industry really can produce sequels that just turn everything up to 11. After Legend of Grimrock rocked the dungeon crawling RPG community, this game showed up a couple of years later and blew its own forefather out of the water. We begin at the Isle of Nex, where someone named Jace the the Island Master, decides to shipwreck your boat and set his whole island worth of monsters and puzzles on you. If you want to leave alive, your 4 party members must rise to the occasion and beat back all of his death traps in order to earn your freedom. Grimrock 2 follows all the same rules as the original did, walk on a grid, mind your desperately finite resources, and piles of secrets in every hall and corner. Except this time, we're outside. The grid system makes this completely artificial, so it's basically just an island-sized dungeon with no roof, but it is very pretty and you can appreciate the complexity of the island itself. Everything from pyramids to graveyards to exotic beaches and ruins, Nex has everything. It goes without mentioning for this series, but this game is very, very difficult. The puzzle difficulty goes through the roof, even compared to the original, with the free-roaming nature of the island. You might find some pieces of a puzzle over here, and have them on you for 12 hours before you find the puzzle they go with over there. It can be very frustrating, and it will deter a lot of casual gamers. This is compounded with your dwindling food supply, your inability to reassign skill points, and the occasional just plain lack of direction. It's an odd combination to see a game that wants me to explore every corner for hidden loot, but wants me to do so quickly so I don't get killed or starve to death. But back to the positive stuff. We've got more classes, more races, armor sets, weapons with special abilities, more everything. This is a great example of a true sequel in which everything is mechanically improved on, the loot is better and more interesting, and the locations are just breathtaking. We've got boss fights, treasure hunting, swimming, a day-night cycle. It's amazing. Absolutely everything was improved upon in an already fantastic series. It's like if you played Super Mario 3 your whole life and then someone showed you Super Mario World. It's the perfection of the miracle formula that we started with. Unfortunately, because of the free-roaming nature of the island, the story does take a hit. As you can probably see, the game is significantly less grim and rocky, and since most of the sections of the island can be played in any order, storytelling was sacrificed in the name of freedom. While Legend of Grimrock was claustrophobic, desperate, and drove you ever forward with its death traps and monsters, Grimrock 2 invites you to take your time, see the sights, explore all the buildings, walk on the tropical beaches, and so on. In my opinion, Grimrock 2 is the superior game, but the original was the superior experience. I don't know, this game is it's difficult, but it's less threatening, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Sporting tons of secrets, great environments, and a mysterious villain who may not be as flat and silly as you might think, Legend of Grimrock 2 is a solid title that deserves to be on everyone's shelf if you like dungeon crawlers. Its difficulty will be a thorn in your side, but hey, that's what Google is for if you really need it. Difficulty of its puzzles aside, it's a polished experience that warrants multiple playthroughs for anybody who loves dungeon crawlers. Just be ready to scratch your head and stare at a few game over screens because it's not for everybody, it's not going to hold your hand, it's really tough. This really shouldn't be called Grimrock 2, this should be more along the lines of Grimrock Squared. Check it out.